friends, tag your friends, let me know that you're here so I can get started with tonight's discussion. I'm your host, Ask Ashley. Tonight's episode is sponsored by the Morgan A. Owens, the voice for women who are interested in becoming boss babes or just becoming marketable corporate cuties. So what she does is she teaches you all about business and how to be professional and pretty. So make sure you guys go check my girl Morgan A. Owens out at www.morganaowens.com. Tonight we are discussing the rape culture. We have Vaughn. So I invited a couple friends with me who I know are very controversial and have great strong opinions about subjects in general, but I know about this one. So I got Vaughn, I got my girl Michaela, and I got my guy Vernon. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to us tonight. Make sure that you guys are, again, tuning in, sharing the video. I will do a raffle at the end of the night. For anyone who shares the video, they'll win a $50 gift card to mybodysnatcher.com or sculptmybody.com. So make sure you're sharing the video. I'll do the raffle later on tonight, and then we'll see Jasmine Eland, and I think that's how you pronounce her name. Jasmine Eland's story. We've seen the Chris Brown. We've seen the Russell Simmons. We've seen the Charlemagne the God. We've seen R. Kelly. We've seen what's his name? Who did the Netflix show? The Netflix show. House of Cards. Kevin Spacey. Is it Spacey? Yeah. So we've seen so many instances in the news and in current events regarding the sexual allegations or sexual abuse or rape and things of that nature. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that tonight. First, we're going to start out with Chris Brown. So you guys know Chris Brown was just in Paris not too long ago. Had a great show, linked up with a nice young lady. So he thought, I'm sure. Linked up with a nice young lady, took her back to the hotel, had consensual sex with her, and then the next thing you know, she's screaming rape. He raped me, so on and so forth. So my question, and like I said, as you guys are tuning in, make sure you guys are dropping your name so we can go ahead and shout you out. So my first question, and this is for everybody, Vernon, I'm going to start with you. Should women go to jail for falsely accusing a man of sexual allegation or sexual abuse or rape?
I think definitely. I think that accountability has to be exercised on both sides, because at the end of the day, both lives are affected. If he's guilty, he should be held accountable for that. If it's based out of false allegations, made up, and she's trying to get a bag out of it, but whatever she's trying to get out of it, she should also be held accountable for that.
Absolutely. As
an adult, I think that as an adult, there comes a time where you have to pay for your actions. I think for both sides, because throughout history, entertainment, no matter what aspect of entertainment, everyone has. There's been stories of men being falsely accused, and therefore the rest of his life had changed.
It's ruined, yeah.
And ruined, and it's not an understatement. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been ruined. So why not? You could hold the woman accountable for that.
Absolutely.
So if that happens, maybe
they won't be so quick.
Exactly.
They won't be so quick to go out there and lie. Okay, Michaela.
Basically, he said it. It's accountability.
What he said.
Yeah, absolutely. It's accountability, because if people are going out and falsely accusing, it's like an epidemic. People are just going to continuously do it, and nobody's holding them accountable for it. So
absolutely.
If you want to falsely accuse, of course, I believe that there should be repercussions for that.
Okay, Vaughn?
I completely agree with what Vernon said. He said what he said.
Right.
And I think at the minimum, they should get whatever rape minimal is.
Yeah.
So if rape is a minimal of 5 years, I think they should get him a minimal of 5 years.
Absolutely.
Because I think it doesn't just affect his character and his finances. That could affect his family. Absolutely. If he's the breadwinner and things like that. But it also can affect his credibility later. And not all the time are charges just drop. It's just contest or it's not guilty, but it's still in your record. That's not okay.
Yeah.
On top of, it really waters down the woman who did get raped.
Yeah.
So this is the problem that I have with rape culture as a whole and the Me Too movement. I side-eyed the whole situation. I've lost friends because of how I feel about rape culture. And the way I feel about rape culture is based off of so many women lie. Like it even came out with things that women have lied, even when everybody else was like, Bill Cosby raped me and it's been proven. But in his sentencing and his judgment, multiple people were getting knocked off the box for proving being liars. So it makes it hard for me to be like, did you really? Are you really a rape? Are you really a victim?
Gotcha. Let's see. So we've got Ingrid, Charles, Crystal. Everybody says hello. Lakia says hey to all of you and says you guys are a great group. Miss Faith also says hello. So thank you all so much for taking the time to tune in. I want to touch on something that you and I were just talking about, Vernon. And Vaughn, we talked about this too, actually. Do you think that men, we'll use men just because we're talking about the Chris Brown situation. Do you think that men sometimes for cases of extortion or false allegations when they, just freely sleep with somebody just because they're a fan?
I think it can be twofold. But again, from the angle of accountability, you're an adult. And if you're an adult trying to do adult things, you're trying to have sex after the show or whatever you're trying to do in that perspective, like as a setup, it shouldn't be felt as a setup. But again, if accountability is accountability, if a guy wants to, if it seems like there's two consensual people about to engage, I don't think it should really be too much of an issue. Yeah. But since you're married, you know what I'm saying, and you're in a committed relationship, then of course there's levels in that. But at the same time, you don't know who you're dealing with. No different as a regular person going out and you living your life, whether you're a promoter, whether you're A, B, C celebrity, whatever the case is, you don't know the other person's intentions.
Yeah, absolutely. Fine. You did not just raise your hand.
I'm sorry. I didn't know what the dynamic was.
No, it's okay. I was coming to you next, baby. Go ahead.
I was about to say, I think men do put themselves in to be vulnerable to those type of things, but I really don't want to say it's just men. I think women do the same thing, but it's not even about like if I like Chris Brown and I want to go with Chris Brown. That's a successful situation, yes, but it could be if I've known Vernon since 7th grade. So even if it's me and Vernon been on each other since 7th grade, if I want to have sex with him, I'm going to have sex with him. And if he rapes me, then he just rapes me. It don't matter how long you've known that person.
Gotcha.
That's not a certain, well, you threw yourself in that situation. Like, wait, I've known this person for forever. I never thought that this person would do that to me. Right. But women rape too. So if I could rape Vernon, just like Vernon can rape me. Right. And that's still like oh, you put yourself in that situation. Yeah, because these are people that we trust.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our comments is from George. George says false accusers should get the same charge the rapist would get if they were found guilty. I know Vaughn touched on that. And Latoya responded and says it seems as those false accusers don't face any consequences at all.
They don't.
Which is probably why Chris Brown tried to do the suing thing, and then it was like, oh, I'm 20, I changed my mind, I consented, I forgot that I consented.
And I'll be the girl that will probably be like her friend and be like, you don't trust me, and I'm like, girl, bye. You need to get that bag. Secure the bag, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's so crazy about all this is that our society never touches on how men are affected by and how men are being or how women may be predators towards men in situations. There's never an accountability from women on women about that.
Because the Chris Brown case could have easily been won. You said you forgot within what? 34 or 72 hours of the story coming out. Right. You forgot that you gave consent. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I can definitely understand where you're coming from.
So if a man had a Me Too movement of, hey man, like how many times have I been approached or been or a woman may have made herself available to me only for her own
advancement or benefit.
Y, and Z. Yep. And if it wasn't what she wanted and how she saw it, and she became a victim or X, Y, and Z. But if I wasn't, or if a guy wasn't, she would never approached him or made herself available to him or X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So there's aspects to this that as society, what about me? What about my?
It's like you gotta be able to talk about both. You can't talk about God without talking about the devil.
Exactly.
What's his came out and he said that he was raped and
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
And he was saying how
and men are dog walking him.
Right,
like,
exactly.
That's
the most support he got was from women.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
So I am going to touch on quickly, just for a hot second, because I don't even want to touch this subject. It's a close to home subject. So the R. Kelly situation. How, you know, a lot of we seen documentary. A lot of people came out, said a lot of things, exposed a lot of truths in regards to the R. Kelly situation. Vaughn and Michaela, this question is more so for you. How old were you when grown men started paying you attention, started coming at you, or extra hour, treating you no longer like you were a little girl?
Well, I was probably about 12 or 13. I was up and down, so it's not like they were like, oh, okay, she got it. It wasn't. I just think that men are, you know, just like
who they were who they were.
And, and they let it show. Brings me back to it doesn't matter, because when I look at young kids, I'm like, what are you guys eating now? The 13, they are fully developed.
Baby,
me and my friends weren't like that in school, but you know, I see it now, and I feel like it really doesn't matter. If it's in them, it's in them, you know. So, but I noticed when I was about 12 or 13 years old.
It was 12 for sure. I started high school at 13. I was going to Schroeder at 12, and standing at the bus stop, I could have got a ride every day if I wanted to.
Oh, I forgot about
every day.
rides. Yeah,
because Jews will ride up on you. Where you going? And you looking like, what? Yeah. I'm still playing with Barbie dolls. What are you talking about? Yeah. And they be like, oh, I'll give you a ride to school. And then they will pressure you like, you sure you don't need a ride? You don't need to stand out here. Yeah. The bus might not show up. You think of yourself, the bus might not show up. So it make you real like, But you don't
just have to whisper that.
Because people need to like admit the thought process.
Is that where
I did. And you know what's so crazy? I had the dialogue, but I didn't have the dialogue until about 22.
And I was about 22. Had the dialogue.
See, I was about 22. And it's not that my mother wasn't open.
It helps, but it doesn't. Like, to know that I can, to this day, yes, that don't make
it'll be right up your alley. Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking for a second. So, and that are tuned in, that are watching, have probably heard the story, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a really quick recant just in case you haven't. Young lady, not far from home, in the club, someone she doesn't know offered a drink. She took the drink. She was live the whole night. One thing led to another on his end, I suppose, and she was sexually assaulted in the club. There are stories as to yes, she was. There are videos from this person, from the guy saying, I didn't do that to her. There are videos from her family saying she was out there shaking her butt and she didn't have drawers on. Like, this is what happens and this is what she did and things of that nature. And it's gotten really ugly. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk too much.
Answer your question, like, not like we're definitely like, you know, like it's like no different than, you know, certain polls, certain if you want physically, that they it's as much as a guy publicly in that way, you know. So that's my perspective.
Right. I'm gonna let you give me just a second. One of the viewers said, I don't know what a woman has on, but at the end of the day, she doesn't deserve to be raped. A stripper doesn't deserve to be raped for going to work, right? Someone else said you should judge a book by its cover, but yes, we as people do judge off of appearances. Go ahead, Vaughn. What's your answer?
I was gonna say I do judge off of appearances. I mean, some of my friends have some nice body, so if I be like, damn girl, you look good, that body is banging. I feel like, no, they shouldn't be raped or sexually assaulted, no, but or you might be looking for a compliment of your workout or the way your body looks or that body after baby or whatever the case may be. Yeah, I think you might be looking for a compliment, or a self-esteem booster.
See, and I have to say that I kind of agree with you both, because I do feel like there are times where women will dress a certain kind of way for a certain kind of attention.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that attention may be a warranted, you know, take me home kind of, you know what I mean? Yeah. What they say, Beyonce said, that's your fuck 'em dress girl. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you throw it on with the intent, like say if me and my boyfriend broke up, I throw your fucking dress on.
Yeah.
Cause
and that's
you might see that nigga out and about. You gotta look good. Cause gray sweatpants is a bad motherfucker. So it's basketball shorts on Sundays.
Absolutely.
Sports
Absolutely. Great culture. I've got Vaughn, Michaela, and Vernon here joining me on Monday Night Juice. Make sure that you guys are sharing the video, liking the video as much as possible, commenting as well, and then giving us your input on what you think about the rape culture. Let me ask you this. Do you think, I'm going to go with Michaela. Do you think that sometimes, so I'm going to tell the backlash as to why I want to ask you the story, the backstory as to why I want to ask you this. So Jasmine's, after all this came out, Jasmine's brother, her friends, and her cousins, and her sisters all went on live and basically said she's lying. The brother said she was out there with her ass hanging out. You know, the sister was saying, y'all don't know what she done been through. She done been through stuff like this when she was younger, so she been trying to deal with that. That's our sister. Y'all don't know her. Whatever the case may be. Do you think sometimes it's backlashes from your family, not even the strangers, but from your family as to why women sometimes hold back on sexual allegations or rape allegations from coming forth?
Absolutely. And I believe that kind of starts in the home too. If we go back, we have uncles or people who touched us and they don't tell their family because women have chosen their husbands or boyfriends over their daughters many a time, you know. So for me, it's we have this word accountability coming up again. Every 98 seconds an American is sexually assaulted. So it's like you have to educate. Like I believe that education is very important. Sexual education, you talking to your children, you have those conversations with your girls, like girl code, like I'm going out, you see me and I'm looking kind of messed up, we need to leave or whatever. You're supposed to take those precautionary measures. So I do believe that it is important to have those conversations.
A good friend of mine, and I'm gonna touch on you, Vaughn. A good friend of mine called me today because she knew I was doing the show, and one of the questions that she asked that really touched me, she said, "Why is it that that we teach our little girls, oh, if he mean to you, he just like you, instead of teaching our sons, if you like her, stop being so mean to her." You know what I mean? And that's like, I remember that. My mom was like, you know, every time you get hit by a little boy, girl, he just like you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then we grow up like, he just like me because he just knocked me out. He loved me. He loved me. He gotta love me. You know what I mean? Because we teach them that when they're young instead of changing the way that we're viewing it and saying, if you like her, why do you treat her that way? That's not how you treat her if you like her. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Mom.
I was about to say, I understand, and this could be the way I was raised once again. I understand, like, people do take their husband's and boyfriend's side or they take their daughter's side. I do get that. But I think, and I might be very Vaughn in mode right now when I say this, but that's part of self-esteem too. You have to be okay. If I say I'm raped and I'm dead serious that I got raped, I gotta be okay with me going against my mama.
Yeah. I
gotta be okay with her choosing his side. And that when I say okay, doesn't mean it's gonna hurt, not gonna hurt. It means that I'm okay
enough to say it
anyway. I gotta be okay enough to say it anyway.
Yeah.
And I have a son, and I've taught my son that. And I think that back to accountability. I have to be open enough to be like, he raped me. You dead ass wrong for fucking with this nigga again after he raped me.
Right.
But I gotta be strong enough to be like, muster it up. But it's your mama, it's your sister, it's your aunt, whatever it is, muster this up because we gotta get the hell up out of this house.
Yeah.
Or out of this situation. And I gotta figure out what's my next step. My next step could be a homeless shelter, battered, like it could be anything. Going over to the safe space of my friend's house or whatever the case may be. But you gotta be okay within yourself.
Absolutely.
To handle that battle.
When are they taught that though? Because as a parent, if I understand your point of view, but if my mom's boyfriend or husband raped me and I'm supposed to have this self-esteem, where am I getting that from? Because obviously my mother is lacking that.
No, and I get that, and I said this could be
right.
This could be a bond zone thing, right? But it also could be a. I think a lot of traits are learned, and I think a lot of traits are taught, and I think that sometimes you have to break the curse. So even at the point where you be like, I wasn't taught that because my mama still fuck with that nigga who raped me. Teach yourself to say, what's my next step? A rape case, and I'm going to the police. I don't give a fuck if that's my mom's boyfriend or not. I'm going to the police.
I'm about to fight you.
I'm about to fight you.
So, I want to say something like
absolutely.
I want to take the time out to really address every woman that's watching this right now. Is that you may not have been the first person that this person did that to.
Yes.
So but if it happened to you, maybe it's a way that God said it stops with you. And so the opportunity for ownership of like, no way, it happened to me and I'm willing to stop it. I'll go to the cops, I'll go to the hospital, get checked out, X, Y, and Z, whatever the case is, that whatever they need to do to process and to get steps going, then do that. Choosing, one thing I've learned, is about choosing love over fear, love over yourself, love over the next woman, over the next person, over your fear. So by choosing love looks like, for the love of the other person, I am going to say something, because everyone does not have the weaponry to be able to handle such a conversation. And you can't and there's a level where you can't always blame them for not having the equipment, or because they may not be equipped with having that kind of conversation. So go to the cops, go do what's necessary, get the testing, X, Y, and Z, and then go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said it so much better than I did.
All right, so let's read some of our comments. Angela says, yes, I believe if you make females feel like that, then they won't be able to speak up. That's one reason why I never call my daughter a liar, and I try to keep an open door policy with her. She says, I just told my daughter that little boy at school that keeps saying lines or hitting her like that, she needs to tell him that this is not how you treat me if you like me. Latoya says, agreed, and my niece got suspended for defending herself against a little boy who put his hands around her neck. And she says yes to breaking the generational curse. And then she says it takes courage also, though some victims try to tell their story and get shot down, so they feel like they have no voice. And I love my boo Michaela. Michaela, show your shirt, please. My boo says that she brings the voice of reason. So make sure that you ladies are out there exercising your voices.
Please.
So I guess this question I'll ask to all of you. Do you believe that if someone was sexually abused or raped at a young age, molested at a young age, that they then grow up with an inability to treat sexual situations in a healthy manner?
You know what? I would say yes, and I'll also add to that you cannot predict how someone will respond to trauma.
I love that.
You know what? You there's no way to predict that. So some person may keep a bottle inside. Some person may go act out in that way, and so, and then depending on how they takes them, it may be more permissible based upon whatever's going on. So you never quite know. And everybody, so it's from that perspective, that's what I'll say.
Absolutely. Michaela?
Absolutely. I was in a position where I did hold everything in. And so I was angry. I felt a lot of things, and growing up, I believe it's a domino effect. And that's why I was talking to her about, as far as parents, I feel like as parents we should do self-wellness checks. How are you doing? Talk to your kids. Is it something that I can do better? Is it something that we need to talk about? My kids' friends, it's not about that. It's about creating a safe haven for something that happens. We can have that dialogue, and you're comfortable with telling me these things. Absolutely. Because if you're not creating that atmosphere, this can continuously happen. And so I do think that it sets up. It can go either way, but it's negative. It's a negative impact regardless, because you're taking something, like you said, you're taking something away from me. Before I was even able to get to
I had it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Vaughn,
everything that they said.
Okay.
I agree completely. And I just the only thing that I would add to what Michaela said was when she said she keeps that open line of communication for her child. I think I do that as well, but I think it's very important to not stop there for the support system, because I'm a believer that a village raises a child. So me coming to the show, I was like, he was like, she want to listen to Ashlee, because for some reason I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And I don't think about it not being you not being it, but it's just like we said, it's just your mom.
Yeah,
you know,
and for whatever reason. I was gonna say, like, for my daughter was very quick to tell me she'd rather have a conversation with Michaela than me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And at first I was kind of like, how come for why? Like, why you don't want to tell me?
Was that your ego talking?
It was.
There you go.
But then I took my ego and told my ego to shut up.
There you go.
Because Michaela is amazing.
There you go.
And she'll tell you what it is that I want to tell you in a different way anyway.
And that's what's important to me.
But think about that though. How many adults don't ask themselves that question and put themselves to the side?
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing that's never addressed. Like, the bigger picture is the growth of your child.
Yes. So you already supposed to be grown.
Yes. Exactly. Not the sustainability of your ego or your feelings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so where people, make it okay, it's okay. Where people, that happens to me that something big, but it's supposed to happen and we're trying to interrupt it. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm still here with it. So my thing is that we need to do better in focusing on that bigger picture and allowing our kids to be the human beings that they are. They're not us. And whatever it takes for the message to get through, be open to allowing that to occur and not standing in the way of that pipeline, of that process.
Of that team, of that support system.
Absolutely.
And check yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Check yourself.
Absolutely.
If my feelings being hurt, if my pride being hurt, if so, why is that? And then get to the bottom of it, and then get out the way and let the growth happen.
Absolutely. Lakia says, it all comes down to fear, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are threatened behind the rape, and everyone is not okay with speaking up, and that's why a lot of victims end up speaking up later on down the road. It may be time to break. It may be time for the silence is broken, and it's hard to understand if you haven't experienced this. Latoya says, Michaela, I need that shirt. Laura says, absolutely true. You don't know how someone will react to the trauma because everybody is different. Latoya says, how do you approach a situation if you suspect that someone else's child is experiencing?
I've never been on that side of an actual way of how I handled it. But again, if it's been suspected, if you can go to the parent or the guardian about it, you know what I'm saying? See how, and if nothing happens, like you know what? Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, make the phone call or you take the kid, whatever necessary to make that thing happen, whatever the options are.
Absolutely.
But because again, when the information gets to you, you have a responsibility as a human being either to ignore it or to follow through with it. And I get that's I'm not saying that like it should be easy, because it's hard as hell. It's hard as hell. What's the backlash could be on you? What's going to happen after that? Those are only questions and things that you have to wrestle with. Mm-hmm. But like what was said before, like what Mom said, but you have to take ownership of it.
Yeah. And
then move forward from there.
I'm glad, Latoya, that you actually asked that question, because my next question, and it all again ties back to Jasmine's story. On the video when everything was going on, she was actually on the dance floor. And so you either had people that were on the dance floor as well and saw it, or of course you had people that sat back and recorded it. So my question is, if you see something, do you do something? Michaela, I'm gonna start with you.
So